Hey, thanks for joining me today for episode 7, lucky number 7 of Business in the Bedroom, a bootstrapper's guide to doing it. I'm your host, Jemmy Legagneur, and today I'm going to talk to you about the brokest days of your life. This episode is brought to you by Flint Media. Listen in and let's do this. So this episode is mostly directed to all those who, like me, are trying to do something while completely self-funded. That means you are bare bonesing it because every penny of profit is going towards keeping the roof over your head, the food in your belly, the lights on, and keeping the business's framework intact. So aside from money and time, there's so many personal things that you could be sacrificing each and every day just to get yourself closer to that goal. It's stressful, but it can also be very character building if you approach it all in the right way, right? That's the silver lining we're all supposed to look at, right? Building character. So as you are going for a goal, be prepared to cut back a lot. You may not have extra money to support what you want to do. So you'll not only need to take financial shortcuts in how you accomplish your goals, like learning to do a lot yourself at first. Shout out to episode 5 on jacking and jilling. If you missed it, go back and take a listen about all the crap you can learn to do for yourself as you grow your business. But you'll also have to get creative on things you need and want for your business. So you and I are going to take a deep dive into 3 pillars of cutting corners: bartering, borrowing, and bargaining. So first, you want to think through your needs to determine what you need to actually cross off that list first. What's the most critical? It might be what's the most expensive that you need to kind of just chip away at or put to the bottom of the list because it's most expensive, or really try to barter, borrow, or bargain for because it's most expensive. What can you possibly maybe just push off to later? And like I said, push it to the bottom of the list. It could be that these things are going to be hard for you to budget for, whatever is in your, let's say, your mental shopping cart for your business, or they could be things that could just help you trim the fat and save a little bit here and there if you put some tools and tips and practices into practice. So your needs could be equipment. They can be tools that you need for your business. Like, let's say you're opening, a bakery shop. You're trying to get more people to learn how to bake cakes with you. You might need cake baking tools or something. I don't know. Or maybe you're trying to start a woodworking business. You might need some tools for that. All kinds of stuff. Your needs could be instructional or consultative or some advice, right? I get people calling all the time. He wants some advice on podcasting or on their business. It could be instructional in terms of how do you do this or that. That's very specific for what you're doing. It could be that you just need someone to give you advice and help you figure your way out through a problem. I actually got an email from one of my team members today who wants to learn more about SEO and how to work SEO for a podcast. And so there you go. That's a need, right? So you reached out. It could be professional services like legal or accounting needs, or even social media work, graphic design work, that kind of stuff. It could really be just about anything. And so you need to look at your list of needs and figure out what's most critical. What are the costs of those different needs? What can you push off till later? And just prioritize your list based on all of that. And so now that you know which needs you have at the top of your priority list, how do you start knocking them out without breaking your budget? Well, let's start with some bartering. Let's face it, you have a certain skill set, so you have to learn to trade it for what you need. I actually have a friend named Jessica, shout out to Jessica, who took this concept to the extreme. And now she's doing all these random things for people as part of her business to help her make ends meet. Not only does she do the video production and the choreography that she's worked so hard to break into as the major passion of hers, but she's also parlayed the concept of bartering services into an official side hustle, doing damn near anything. So shout out to Jessica Empress Prestige McCready, aka the Odd Job Lady. She has this promo video showing off that she'll organize your closet, she'll do some office management stuff, whatever. And then in that promo video, she wraps in her actual professional services, like being a production assistant. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, of course, she's being paid for all of these services, right? Even organizing someone's closet. So it's not exactly bartering, but the original idea comes from the spirit of bartering, being willing to do anything in exchange for something of value for someone else. You have to look through what you have to offer in order to barter. So what you have to offer could be the experience that you gained at your regular jobs. So if at a previous job you became a spreadsheet geek, well, you can manage someone else's records or build a spreadsheet record system for them, right? That might not have anything to do with the goal you're going for, but it's something on the side that you can help make ends meet while you're building the business you are trying to go for. Are you maybe like a prior mechanic or a handyman, something like that? You can offer to fix something around someone's house or office or whatever in exchange for something that you need. What you have to offer could also be the experience that you have in the actual area of business that you're building your business around. So, for example, if you're working to make it as an artist, one thing that you could do is offer design a logo, or you could offer to design a personal art piece or something. If you're a musician and you're trying to make it as a musician, one of the things that you can do in addition to all the music you're composing for yourself, you could also compose music for someone else, let's say to use in a commercial or something in exchange for, again, whatever it is that they have that you need. What you have to offer also could be all the stuff that you had to learn in order to build and run your business, all the stuff that we talked about in episode 5. Like if you learned how to build websites and you've become pretty good at it, then you can offer to build a new landing page for someone or put their blog posts up or something like that. If you've become pretty crafty at using Instagram for your own brand, you can offer to run another account or provide tips to someone else on how to run a successful Instagram account. Even if that's not what you are aiming to do for your life, it's maybe not social media. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But if it's not, if you become good at it, then that is a skill that you can add to your list and put in your bucket of things that you can offer for bartering. Now, I'm going to discuss how to determine a fair barter in a later episode when I begin to touch on pricing, but there's already so much more I have to talk about. So that's all we're going to discuss on episode 7 today. So skipping now to borrowing, the next B in the list. Now, this is not a very complicated concept, okay? It's likely something that you mastered in grade school. So, of course, borrowing means seeing if a friend or a family member has what you need and can let you use it for a while or on a particular project. Again, not that complicated. But thinking beyond that, you can get brave and actually ask beyond your circle of just family and friends. The very first online community I built was back in like 2010, 2011. I think I've mentioned it before. It was an online fitness group on Facebook called Health Gems. Well, I knew I really wanted to take a certain promotional photo of myself, but the image I had in my mind required a certain type of dumbbell. Side note, dumbbell is a really fun word to say. Dumbbell. I love saying dumbbell. Love it. Anyways, moving on. Well, I didn't have a dumbbell like the kind in my head in my house. So the pic that I had in my head had me in my home. What did I do? I didn't have a dumbbell in my home. So what did I do? Well, do I go out and spend $30 and get a dumbbell set? No, of course not. I was broke. Instead, I asked the manager of the boxing gym I went to that I'd been there long enough. I thought we'd had a good rapport. Why not take a chance? Be brave. And I'm glad that I did because they were more than happy to let me borrow one dumbbell for an afternoon. And I got a really great pick out of it and saved myself $30 or however much a pair of dumbbell costs. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But it worked, you know, go and ask your local businesses. Sometimes managers are more than happy to help you out. Have you ever seen that show? It's one of my guilty pleasures. It's called Extreme Cheapskates. It's on TLC and essential viewing for anybody who's looking to save a buck. Essentially, it showcases people who are cutting budget corners, doing things you can't even imagine. This one woman hooked up her pool pump to a bike in her garage. And so that's how she runs her pool pump, by riding the bike. True story. Seriously, these people are largely way out there. Otherwise, they probably would be part of all that esteemed programming on TLC. Like I said, total guilty pleasure of mine. I love all their shows, but whatever. I watch that show. I can't help but think when I do watch that show, man, I really wish I could have seen this when I was supremely broke, because these people have some great ideas. So look, I'm not going to judge you, okay? No one else is going to judge what you do behind your closed door. You may just want to check out that show if you want or need a lesson in having no shame whatsoever. If you need to get brave, watch that show. If they can do it, you can do it. They're nuts. But borrowing in modern times can take a lot of other forms too, okay? Not just borrowing dumbbells from the local boxing gym. There are all kinds of ways that we are connecting and building communities off and online, and those can translate into opportunities to borrow. As an example, there is an app called Nextdoor, which is kind of like a social clipboard for your neighborhood. So if there's something specific you're looking to borrow, you can actually post about it right on there, and you never know, you might get lucky. Or reach out to a Facebook group in your space for anyone who might be local to you and may have what you need to borrow and may be willing to let you borrow it. So borrowing can be from not only family and friends, but also local businesses. And in this modern age of there's an app for that, which I don't think is something people say anymore, but whatever, bring it back. There's an app for that, even from complete strangers. But just a caveat, right? For meeting a stranger, do so in a parking lot of a police station or some other safe space with good lighting. Okay, please. I don't need any emails of horror stories because Jemmy said to do it. Okay. No, it's like, be smart. But what's also lovely, and I have to mention this. So if by chance you aren't the person who is the creative and you're not the person who's trying to do something on your own, but you're listening to the show because you support somebody who is, what's also lovely is when someone doesn't just loan you something, but actually gifts you something. So if you are said family member or friend who's supporting said creative and you have old tools or equipment collecting dust that they can use, please offer it to them. Stop wondering if they could use it. The answer is yes, they could really use it. So give it to them. I have a really great friend named Scotty Fusion, his real name. I love him. Scotty Fusion, shout out. And long time ago, it was like 3 episodes into my first podcast, Curve the Cube, and the audio was awful. And he met me for lunch one day and he surprised me with my very own brand new mobile equipment. Is a Tascam DR40. Let me tell you, this little device made a huge difference in the sound of my show and for my ability to just do mobile podcasting at all. It just really changed the game. And just was a little piece of equipment from a production company that he had a long time ago. And it was in a storage unit collecting dust. And he gave it to me and it made the world a difference. And it's still a piece of equipment I regularly use. So if that's you, if you're in a position to give something to someone, look around and give it to them, please. Okay. So I flipped the script a little bit there. I wanted to talk to the people who have, give it to the people who have not, please. All right. The third B we're going to tackle on this episode is bargaining. Now, I almost called this one begging, but I thought bargaining had a little more dignity to it. So I called it bargaining. Look, you're going after a dream and you're self-funded. So you're lucky if you have a shirt without holes and a car with gas in it. Okay. Like, let's be real. So what do I mean by bargaining? Well, as an example, you've just learned about a great deal on something that you really need, but unfortunately, you just missed the deadline for that great deal. Well, start bargaining. Sound pathetic. whatever. Call it begging if you want. It doesn't hurt to ask, and it still doesn't hurt to ask twice. So if they say no at first, ask again. They may make an exception for you or let you know of another sale or deal or whatever that's like right around the corner that maybe you can wait an extra week or two for. Okay. So it doesn't hurt to ask if you can still get in on a great deal. Another thing I've seen popping up recently is live streaming events. So you can run a live streamed whatever, I've seen stream chat, concert, whatever, and ask for money to support you. It's kind of like, hey, I know you didn't ask for a free concert tonight on Facebook, but here I am live on Facebook. Enjoy. And while you're here, donations are welcome. Cha-ching. And you just put your Cash App or your Venmo or whatever tag on the video and watch those random dollars roll on in. I've also seen some people putting those tags like in their social media profiles too, right there on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Or if they accidentally post a tweet that goes viral, then I've seen people quickly reply to their own tweet with those tags in it saying, hey, while you're here and loving this tweet, I didn't expect it to blow up. So you can also donate to my Venmo. It's crazy. But guys, don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay. These are things that I'm seeing and they're working. I didn't have a chance to like take advantage of this stuff because it wasn't really around when I was just getting started, but it's around now. So take advantage. And I'm going to end with just a few more general quick tips now that we've covered the 3 big B's. So as a general caveat, I am a firm believer in not working for free. So looking at that philosophy from the other side, I would also never advocate for asking for someone to do work for you without you providing a value back to them, payment or otherwise. Everyone who does work for me and who has ever done work for me, with maybe the exception of my lawyer brother, by the way, great to have in the family, everyone has been and continues to be paid. The idea of not compensating someone gives me the heebie-jeebies. So if you can't pay for a whole lot of help, which was my situation for probably like the first 5 years or so of Flintstone Media's life, first, you have to prioritize things. Okay, like I got into earlier, but especially those that are really, really, really essential, like legal work. Then for the rest, you can barter, borrow, or bargain. And also, if someone owes you money, then you need to hound them for it. Stop being nice. It's your money. For the record, I don't technically count that as begging. It's getting what's yours. So it's not even part of the 3 B's, just as a side note, okay? Get what's yours. If someone owes you money, hound them for it. Another random little quick tip at the end here is get to know the rules of your bank account and any other money services like PayPal or Square that you might be using. What are their percentages for fees? What do they charge you if you overdraft? How long does it take money to transfer between accounts? Like all of these are little details that you need to know and find out right now if you don't know, because these are the things that are going to become very handy if you're monitoring your bank account anywhere near as carefully as I've monitored it over my own bank accounts over the years. So get to know the rules of your bank account and any other money services that you are on. Another little quick tip here is to keep a spreadsheet of your regular expenses. Now, I'm not talking about your household budget. That can be great, but that's for a whole nother podcast and a whole nother host talk about household budgeting. What I'm talking about are your business expenses. So not only is it essential record keeping for taxes, really great idea, right? But it can also help you track where you're wasting money and can help trim some things off. I remember I had to sign up for CBS All Access. It's this little extra give that they get for CBS. It can live stream all of their programming and stuff. I signed up for it a long time ago because I needed to binge watch an entire season of Big Brother because I was interviewing someone on there for Curve the Cube. I had like 3 days to watch 40 episodes. And so I signed up for CBS All Access and then I forgot to unsign up. So I wasted that $5 a month for God knows how long until I figured out, wait a minute, I should have been paying more attention to that. So track your expenses, pay attention, okay? You never ever know what you're going to find that you've been paying for way too long. As you go along building a business, you'd be surprised how many opportunities to nickel and dime you come up. right? And to nickel and dime your budget, like from purchasing URLs and web hosting fees, bank fees, software subscription fees, all these different membership fees, this, that, and the other. There's going to be lots of opportunities for you to just easily, quickly click a button and say, yes, I'll sign up for that. And then you forget about it months later. So just really pay attention to all of those little expenses and keep a spreadsheet to help you keep track. Next little tip here, always be on the lookout for a really great deal or offering. So in particular, for the space that you're breaking into, sign up for some popular newsletters to keep you informed on what's coming up on the horizon. Listening to a podcast in your field is another way to stay informed. So side note on that, since you're already listening to podcasts, look up whatever field you're in and find another one to stay current, because great deals are often shared on these platforms. True story. The turning point of my podcasting career was not only receiving that Tascam DR40 from Scotty Fusion, but it was really when I got to go to my first Podfest Multimedia Expo. And I got to go for free. Yes, for free. And this is the biggest podcasting conference, I think, in the world, maybe. I don't know. But it's definitely the biggest one in Florida and happens every year in Orlando. And when I heard about it, I was drooling, just dying to go. And I found out a way that I could go for free because of a podcast I was listening to about podcasting happened to mention a great deal that they had, an opportunity they had called the Pay It Forward program. So I'll share the whole story on a future episode about just how that all came about. But deals like that are available more often than you'd think if you just keep yourself informed. So sign up for some newsletters and subscribe to some podcasts, things like that. And remember to keep checking into your why. This is the thing I'm going to say all the time to you until you start listening to me. Remember to keep checking into your why for the motivation, for the sacrifices that you're making, to know that, yes, they are worth it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm assuming you're listening to this because you are either running a business in your bedroom or thinking about it. Well, I want to hear from you. Email me about your business and send me your questions at Jemmy@flintstonemedia.com. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter too as Flintstone Media. But I'm really building a community around this show and the hive of us crazies who are working hard to turn a passion into a profit. So join the conversation with everyone by looking up Dreamers Become Doers on Facebook. But you may also have heard my brief mention in episode 5 of the Patreon. Patreon is an awesome way for fans to support creatives' work. And for the Patreon for this show, I'll be sharing extra tips, resources, and posts that can really propel you and your business forward. So if you want to be part of my exclusive superfan community that not only influences and supports the show, but also gains extra valuable tools and action items, head to patreon.com/dreamersbecomedoers to join in and level up. And it only costs a few dollars a month. That's Patreon, patreon.com/dreamersbecomedoers. Or you can just get everything. Show notes and details about today's episode, the links to Patreon and Dreamers Become Doers on Facebook, and da-da-da-da. Even to leave me a voice message with a question I can play right on the show, head to bizinthebedroom.com. That's bizinthebedroom.com. And remember to hit it hard, keep the lights on.